Welcome to RPG Book Club, the podcast where we play a little bit of a video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
Oh, I'm Maddie.
And I'm David Bernard Hauk.
And today we'll be discussing the 6th part of Dragon Quest V, Hand of the Heavenly Bride, up until we meet a big old dragon. But before we begin, how is everybody's week?
I had kind of a stressful week because I'm applying for a promotion at work because one finally came up again. Mm-hmm. It's been over a year since I applied, and they finally have positions available. I don't know how many, but I'm fucking terrified.
I believe in you. So
I appreciate that.
I also believed in you last year, so take that with a grain of salt.
Thanks.
Don't believe in him this year, then he'll get it.
Yeah.
Well,
See, every time you believe in me, it goes horribly wrong.
True.
it at least went partially right last time you believed in me. So,
yeah.
I mean, I got a temporary position last time to kind of learn the job. Oh, yeah. And now, I can go in there and say with confidence, yes, I know the job and I can do it.
Yeah.
So
good.
I feel like my chances are better, and also because some of my competition left the company.
Nice.
So that
I'd love
helps.
to see it.
Thank God for
honestly.
Thank God for voluntary layoffs followed by non-voluntary layoffs. Like nobody's left; it's just you.
Yeah.
Honestly, I gotta say that's always my personal game plan whenever I want something. If I want to get a job, or if I want to get housing or something, I don't hope and pray that the person likes me and thinks I'm good. I just pray that all the other people drop out.
I mean, I feel like that's my one hope. But
Lord, pray, Lord, would that all the people who are better than me give up.
Yeah. Yeah, so I got my resume and cover letter sent in before the deadline, like a good boy who does things before deadlines and isn't a total procrastinator. And then, even though I've been procrastinating like 18 other things, I had a big gay 4th of July party, and I say that because 2/3 of us were LGBT in some manner.
Yeah.
Out of 6. Although Ken is technically bisexual by proxy because he's with me. So technically 5/6 of us are LGBT. And we were gonna we had a whole bunch of games and we were gonna play games, and Ken played Overwatch the whole time, and the rest of us were boring old people, and we sat and talked while we watched Game Grumps play Undertale.
Nice. Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Classic old person activity, watching Game Grumps play Undertale.
Well, someday it will be. We're all Undertale fanatics, so
that reminds me. So, right now, I'm looking forward to the ability to when I retire. Hopefully that's still a thing when that happens, but when I retire, I'm like, I'm going to go back and play all the video games and watch all the TV shows that I miss. People in Scarlett's generation, are they going to be like, I can't wait till I retire and then I can go watch more YouTube?
I don't understand the kids.
I do
not. I don't know.
How do I reach these kids?
I don't know.
Good South Park reference.
That's like a reference to a person referencing a trope.
My week was hella stressful because at the beginning of the week, I check my account being like, all right, let's see what rent is looking like. And I was a lot of money short. And so I look, and I was double charged for my utilities because of my own damn fault. I got an email that I thought said, hey, your payment didn't go through, but it actually said, hey, we are processing your payment. So I sent in a manual payment and it didn't cancel out the auto pay. But so I was short on that, and they couldn't refund it because I'm on a repayment plan, and so I have a negative balance, and so they just applied it to the balance and we're going to give it back. So that really sucked. And then, of course, because this was payday is on Friday, but the bank holiday was Thursday. Instead of getting me paid on Wednesday, it got me paid on Friday, which was when rent was late. And so I got one of them scary eviction letters. It's not like a real eviction letter. It's just we have to send you this so that we can kick you out if you don't pay us. But it still says notice to vacate on the top of it. And it was really fucking scary.
Jesus.
But everything worked out in the end because I did finally get paid before the deadline. And my dad hooked me up with some cushion and everything is fine. But
that's really good.
It didn't seem fine for about 48 hours.
Yeah. It's really weird how your paycheck works too, because mine normally comes on Friday, but because of the holiday, it came on Thursday.
Yeah.
And
that's weird.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah. Man, you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Earlier y'all couldn't, and I had to disconnect and reconnect. I just didn't say anything.
Okay.
Anyway, I was just gonna say, Boardman gets paid, which is a reference that no one in this group will get, but hopefully someone out there is cool. That shit sucks.
Yeah.
I was gonna mention something about my week. Well, I'm not gonna go into it too much because my week is great actually. But the main thing is, you might notice that there's no large, loud construction sounds outside.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
And that's because I moved to a new place.
Yay.
Bernard's heard the most of it, but my old roommate was an actual psycho murderer. No, okay, he wasn't an actual murderer. That's this is parody. This podcast is parody. This is we are protected. We are protected under parody rights. I'm not actually calling someone a murderer. No, but he is an actual psycho. And right up to the very end, he was just an absolute the just abusive asshole piece of shit, and I'm probably not getting my deposit back. But now I'm in a new place, and my new living situation is great, and my new roommate is great. And what's cute is that this is what it was referenced. I was thinking about y'all talking about how to reach these kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, my new housemate is like 55 years old or something like that. And we were just talking last night about how we don't understand the kids these days, and it was quite interesting. They were like talking about how like they think they keep up pretty well, and they don't want to be that old person who doesn't understand the kids. And I was like, I'm like half your age and I don't understand the kids. Come on. You're fine. You are fine, I promise. I was trying to explain like how Twitter works. Also, they're like this, they're like this like middle-aged Russian non-binary person, and they're queer, and ultra queers are interesting because they grew up in very different circumstances. Mm-hmm. Anyway, point is, they like just discovered FaceApp. So they like just discovered like FaceApp, the gender swap thing on FaceApp, and they're like flipping out about it. It's the cutest. It is hilarious.
That app is very weird to me as a trans person because, like, I look like a man now. I already know what I looked like when I was a woman. Right? So there's no point to this app for me.
No, see, I think it's great. I use the app, and I set it to girl, and I'm like, wow, that pretty much looks like me. And then I set it to dude, and I'm like, that looks completely different from me. And then I get validation.
Yeah.
When I set it to dude, it just made me really handsome, and I was like, oh, man, I wish I actually looked like that.
Like, oh, no, he's hot.
But yeah, no, that's my situation. Oh yeah, and I'm now casting from a closet, because actually there is construction outside.
It's just not in the house.
No matter where I go, there's construction happening. But this time I have a closet with a relatively heavy door, so if I close it, you can't hear the construction.
And that's what's important.
That's what's important.
My week was okay, pretty uneventful, except I decided to try starting keto, which I've tried before, but now the main difference is I know other people who have experience with it.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Yeah.
And I started tapering off my carbs yesterday. I'll continue that today, and then tomorrow and the next day I'm going full keto for my weekend.
Nice.
And I'm going to get the keto flu, and I'm going to give up.
Yeah.
There's been many a time when I've wanted to give up, trust me.
Yeah, I don't.
We had buns the other day for our party, for like the burgers and hot dogs for those who eat carbs, and I was like, I just want to devour all of the buns.
Yeah. I don't get the keto flu, which is probably super lucky of me, but what I do to if anyone's listening out there, because Eli and Bernard have already heard this, but I do my you can have one thing when it comes to carbs, because like for most things that are carby, one of them is only going to be like 2 or 3 carbs anyways. Like it's not good for you, but it's not going to shoot you over the edge. So like if somebody has a burger on a bun and I'm like, that sounds good, I will have one bite. Or if somebody's eating M&Ms, I will have one M&M. And yeah, it'll set me back 3 or 4 carbs ridiculously, but I'll only have that one and I can plan around it. So it helps me survive in situations like that where I can just have the one, and it's great. I recommend it. But if you don't have self-control, don't.
I was gonna say I do not have that kind of discipline. As soon as sugar hits my lips, I'm like, well, I'm done. I'm done forever.
Yeah, for me, it's a lot easier to do something 0 than to do something 1.
Yeah.
For me, it's a lot easier to just not try at all and to give up.
Well, obviously, that's the easiest.
I learned that from The Simpsons. The best thing to do is just never try.
Oh, yeah. Never try.
Never try.
So here's a fun fact for those listening. The people on the podcast probably already know, and I told Maddie, and it freaked her out. Ketogenic diets are used to treat seizures.
Yeah, I had heard that.
I did know that, actually.
Which is
And
crazy.
You're like, why? And the answer is, I don't know. Bodies are weird.
Carbs have more electricity in them, and therefore that makes the seizures happen.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I tried to read the Wikipedia, and it seemed like half here's an explanation you won't understand, and half nobody knows.
Yeah. It's one of life's little mysteries.
Yeah, it's cool though. Like, I love weird shit like that. Like, so as previously established on the podcast, we lost our first child due to preeclampsia, and so for our second child, for Scarlett, the medicine you take to keep from getting preeclampsia is an old person aspirin that you take every day like a vitamin.
Huh.
And it's so, like, we don't know why this works. It just works. Because, like, it had, like, aspirin in general, like, thins the blood a little bit. And that's why you're not supposed to take it for pregnancy. And so it's like you get a little hair of the dog and it'll keep you from having super high blood pressure or whatever. But it's so new and weird that, like, when we were actually having Scarlett and the doctor was like, what medications are you taking? And Summer was like, just a baby aspirin. And he's like, why the hell are you taking a baby aspirin? And like Summer's doctor had to come in and be like, hey, this is a new thing. It's weird. I know. Just trust it. It's okay. It's not going to mess up with her epidural. Give her the fucking needle. But it's so weird how, like, random things just happen to work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shall we get started? So full disclosure, listeners, we recorded this episode last week, but I messed up and didn't edit it until way after. Maddie.
And then I messed up, more importantly, by deleting my file.
Yeah. So
Whoops.
So yeah, it turned out to be like the edited episode would have only been like 57 minutes. So we were like, okay, we'll play a little bit extra and just pretend like we planned this all along. And then I told you, so I've ruined the plan. But
we have to be honest with our listeners.
Right. So last time I had done this at the end, but this time I'm going to do it now because I'm going to forget by the end. But the next game we are playing is officially Cosmic Star Heroine. You can get it on Switch, PC, and Vita. and PS4 I think as well. But it is going to be really cool. You can see this game like start to be created in like the miasma of the creator's mind on Gama Sutra, because he wrote a bunch of articles after Cthulhu, I think is the second one, after Cthulhu, talking about, if I were to make another RPG, what would I do different? What would be the things that I think everybody would be interested in, et cetera, as he went along. So you can like it feels like it's going to be crafted with love, which is really cool, and not just crafted with pushing glasses up the nose. I can make an RPG better than all these people can. Like, it doesn't seem like it's coming from that place. Like,
you know what's hilarious that you mentioned that exact phrase, that exact pushing glasses up nose. I can make a better RPG than these people can. I'm not saying we finished this game, but literally the first large project that me and Bernard ever embarked on, and kind of are still like, maybe one of these days we'll get around to it, Baby, which is a big JRPG project, was literally inspired by me playing Cthulhu and fucking hating it and thinking I could make a better JRPG than this.
Yeah,
I ended up writing a novella inspired by that that project.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. But yeah, no, like I literally was in Russia and I played Breath of Death 7 and I played Cthulhu Taste of the World, and I was like shaking with rage because I disliked them so much.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then right around that time, Bernard briefly mentioned something about making an RPG, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And it turns out making an RPG is really hard.
Yeah, really hard.
It's incredibly
It's hard for technical reasons. The design part would have been great.
Yeah.
Way better than their stupid game. But anyway, no, I bet this game's tight because they've made like 3 games since then.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited to play it.
Yeah.
But it's just a funny coincidence there.
Yeah, so hopefully it's great. Hopefully it's not rage shaking, and as we try most of the time on the podcast, we find good stuff in it anyways. So we'll probably be like, man, it's so rage shaking. Why'd they do blah 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 blah? But wasn't this blah 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 cute or whatever? Like,
I will push my glasses so hard up my nose that they will crush my cranium.
yeah, this is the podcast where we positively reviewed Rogue Galaxy, so anything can happen.
I've talked to people at work about Rogue Galaxy, and they're like, "That game's bullshit," and I'm like, "Okay, I feel validated."
Like, well, you're not wrong.
So like before
not bullshit.
Before we were getting started, I was talking with somebody at work, and they were like, dude, you gotta play Rogue Galaxy. It's the best game of all time. Because I had mentioned like it was going to be Rogue Galaxy or Okage or something, and everyone was like, dude, you gotta go to Rogue Galaxy. And so we're not the only people that liked it. We're probably just the only publication that reviewed it favorably.
There were certainly aspects of it that I thought were charming and nice.
Yeah, and that's as positive as people say about Rogue Galaxy.
I tried.
But yeah, so if you want to play Cosmic Star Heroine with us, we have 2 episodes left after this one. We will get to the Underworld, and then we will play the Underworld live in front of everyone. And then we will start Cosmic Star Heroine, which will be the week after we go to Classic Game Fest. And we at Classic Game Fest, if you come and see us, we will be recording an episode with you guys. Just anybody that walks up, we'll have interview questions. You can tell us about your favorite JRPG, and you can try and sell us on it. And we can tell you that it sounds cool or it sounds bad, because me and Eli probably haven't played it. And,
yeah, unfortunately, I won't be there, so I won't be there to tell you that it's bad and I have played it.
yeah, we'll tell you it sounds cool, and that's about it. But
or we'll tell you Maddie has played it and she probably hates it.
yeah, and so we're going to look like professional podcasters. I'm renting out like professional equipment instead of just all of us on shitty USB microphones like we on our computers like we have right now. It'll be like a whole recording setup with fancy mics and headphones for everybody.
It's gonna be dope.
Yeah, it'll be great. Everyone should come out and see us. If you get the early bird special, you come in at 9 o'clock on Saturday, and leave at 7. And as per our contract, we have to be there the entire time or we forfeit our booth and are never invited back to Classic Game Fest. So
Whoa, okay.
that's
good to know.
That's why they give you 2 wristbands so you can have a bathroom break.
Great.
Yeah, so we'll all be there and it'll be a lot of fun. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. And
I'm gonna bring shit to do with it.
Yeah,
like sketchbooks and stuff.
Yeah, I'm bringing my 3DS and
I'll probably bring my
also
Switch,
my
too.
Vita and probably also my Switch.
Let's just like pack suitcases and
Yeah, it'll be
full of
Play as many JRPGs at the
activities.
same time as possible.
yeah,
Yeah.
it'll be great. I'll do it. But yeah, that'll be super fun. That's in 3 weeks from today, so which we're recording on Saturday. So everyone should come.
I
and
should
see
bring
us.
I should bring the SNES Classic and we can play the Mario RPG.
Yeah.
That's a fun idea.
Yeah, actually, we should bring the SNES Classic and play the Mario RPG if they tell us that we can't play Sailor Moon on the TV. SNES Classic would be a good one. But yeah, let's talk about Dragon Quest.
Finally.
Yeah.
I love Dragon Quest.
Where we last left off last time that we're repeating, we had been turned into a statue for a long ass time.
Yeah, and so we get unturned from a statue, and they're like, hey, we got to go find Grandma's house, which is your mom's house. And so, because everyone believes that Madalena is alive. So you go to a boat dungeon.
And we apparently just don't care about finding our wife's statue.
Yeah, it actually didn't come up at all, which is
Not at all.
weird.
I'm very sad about that.
We talk about how. Oh yeah, I guess no one really talks about it. But yeah, they're like we gotta find her, but I guess we don't really know where she is. So
Yeah. Well,
So we go to a boat dungeon, and the boat dungeon is cool because you've seen in RPG a human-sized boat, and you've seen in RPG a dungeon-sized boat, but you've rarely seen in RPG a like 5 or 7 tiles big boat, and we got one this time, and it was cool.
a nice medium boat.
Yeah, and it was a real pretty dungeon. It was pretty easy. It didn't have any gimmick besides the boat.
I don't know, the monsters were pretty tough.
Yeah, I actually got my ass kicked. I had to go do side quests for a while. I kept dying and having to abort. So then I put my goo, my King Slime buddy in my team just because my King Slime buddy has Zing, but he only has enough to cast Zing twice. Point is, yeah, no, it took me, most of my playtime was start to getting through this dungeon.
Weird. I went through it just like straight away.
yeah, I didn't have too many problems, actually.
Weird. It's almost as if
Well, isn't that nice?
It's almost
It
as
is
if-
weird that Eli would not have problems.
right, but it's almost as if RPGs are designed so that everyone's playthrough is slightly different.
Yeah. Here's a quick question. If we can talk about this later if we want to, but it could come up now. While I was grinding and exploring and doing other side quests in order to level up, did any of y'all go to Monstro Ferrato?
I
No.
Yes.
didn't go to Monster Ferrato, but I did go check in on Bianca.
So there's a very important quest in Monstro Ferrato that maybe it's one of those things where later it's actually a plot quest. You can just do it early. I think it's actually a side quest though. You go there and remember that jar we had to check?
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, only some of y'all remember that. Well, anyway, because of the timelines.
Yeah.
So you go back, and Briscoletti is, first of all, he's being Briscoletti as usual.
Very Italian.
I just realized here's the reason he probably doesn't mention. No, I don't know. Anyway, he doesn't mention Deborah like not being there, which is weird. Also, I didn't see Nira, though. Then again, I didn't explore the town that much. Anyway, he's like, "Hey, I'm in the middle of a serious situation. You got to help me out." And you're like, "What?" And he's like, "That jar I told you to check on before to see if it was still blue? I need you to go check on it again and see if it's still blue." But this time around, you get a little bit of a hint from a maid, and then you end up reading a book, and it's from his ancestor like 150 years ago, and basically it's what you'd expect. It's like, hey, there was this enormous giant monster that was destroying everything, and I sealed it in this jar, but the jar seal isn't going to last forever. It's probably going to last like 150 years tops. So like if you're my ancestor 150 years from now, good luck. So you go and you check, and sure enough, the jar is red. And then the monster breaks out, and it is literally it goes into special 3D graphics mode, and you see the monster 3D model of a monster stomping on like a 3D model of like an entire town.
Oh wow.
And it's like this amazing, it's like really cool graphics, it's super dramatic, and then you fight it and you get your ass kicked. And I haven't beaten the quest yet.
Yeah, it's hard.
Which is why I think maybe it's a thing for later, maybe part of the plot or something.
Yeah, it's sort of weird because that was like the first thing I did, but now it's just like, well, he kicked my ass, and there's no way I'm going to beat him now, so I'm just going to leave him here and hope he doesn't do anything bad while I go do some other stuff, because this ain't for now.
Yeah, because the way it works is there are like a number of steps to the quest. So until you get to the final step, which is Briscoletti is like, meet me at the tower, until that happens, you don't have to fight the monster.
Okay.
So you could like go up until that point on the quest, and then just like save real fast just to be careful, or put your money in the gold bank and peace out. But yeah, it's this like whole ass thing.
That's wild. I should go do that.
Yeah, y'all should definitely do it. I'm sure it gives you lots of experience points if you manage to actually beat it. That's the only major side quest as far as I know. But then of course there's other important things such as getting the helmet.
Yeah. So before I went to get the helmet, I actually made it up to Lofty Peak on the other side of the water dungeon, and in Lofty Peak, everyone is talking about the flying carpet and a magic key being quote unquote hidden somewhere. And there's also NPCs that talk about a mysterious tower that leads all the way up to the heavens or Zenithia, depending on which NPC you talk to. And one small thing I mentioned last time, which is really cool, this is the only church I found that is run exclusively by nuns and not with some patriarchal dude in the front, which is cool.
Yep.
But the rest of the NPCs all are like, hey, you should go and talk to the elders, and you do so. The elders are supposedly the only ones that have power to transcend to and from the underworld anymore. So you make your way up to talk to them, and they say, yeah, your dad sucks because he stole your mom from us, but you're someone new, so you're innocent of his crime, so we'll actually talk to you. And so they talk about how the goddesses divided the world into 3 realms, which is Zenithia, the realm of the holy ones, the earthly world inhabited by humans, and Nadiria, the underworld, where she sealed away all the demons. And the people of Lofty Peak are the gatekeepers between these realms, but they suck now because they can't even open the gates to the water sanctuary where Zenithia lies. And they say that the gates to the underworld are opening more and more each year, and if it continues, the colossal evil of the Grandmaster of the Underworld himself will manage to transcend into our world. And so they need to rescue Madalena before that happens so she can seal the gate because she has full power. They have low battery. And and they say that the only one who can rescue her is us, her son, which is cool that they didn't say, you legendary hero. They said, you son. The theme of this game is parenthood, if nobody's caught on to that yet. It's really cool. Like as a dad, I'm gonna have so much shit to say when we finish this fucking game, but it's so good. And so they say that they think that she's still alive, but that the monsters have her so that they can open the gates. So you need to go and open up the water sanctuary. But if you head up to the water sanctuary, there's mountains in the way, so you need to go and do something else. It is at that point that I went and got the helmet for Gohan. And the helmet scene was really cool because, like, this is the one where they confirm that he's the legendary hero, even though it's obvious. And so you go to get the helmet, and Gohan tries to put it on, and it's like bigger than he is, and he's like, "Oh, it doesn't fit. I guess I'm not the hero." And then the helmet shrinks to fit his head, and it's really cool. And everyone's like, "Oh,
I haven't gone to get the damn helmet. Shit."
Yeah,
go to get the helmet.
Go get it.
Yeah. all of the Zenithian equipment, you just equip it on Gohan, and it scales with his level, and he'll always be the best. So,
oh yeah, that's the other thing. Definitely don't forget to because the game does not automatically equip the Zenithian sword. Yeah, make sure to do that.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, make sure to equip all your Zenithian stuff after you get it. Don't just have it with you.
Yeah.
Just to be sure that I didn't miss anything, we do not have the Zenithian armor yet, right?
No.
Okay.
No,
I was like, it sure has been a while, and I don't have no Zenithian armor yet.
We have one thing. Oh, the shield. That's right.
Yeah.
We have the shield, the sword, and the helmet.
yeah, we're just missing the armor right now. So, Cleopatra is like, great one, the world needs you. What I think is cool is she moves from talking to, like, the head of the party, which is how, like, everyone talks to you in an RPG, is talking to the player character, and she moves down the line to wherever Gohan was standing to talk directly to Gohan, which is cool little attention to detail that they have.
It's real nice. I dig it.
But, she's like, only you can fight the plague of darkness that curses us. And if you, after the scene, you you party chat to Fidel, she's like, I have the same parents. Why am I not the legendary heroine? This is bullshit. And it's great.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I agree.
Yep.
And so
She has they have a lot of cute banter about it. He's like, I guess I'm the hero, but I still just feel normal. And then at one point, Vanessa, that's mine. Vanessa is like he may be the hero, but he's still my, he's still just my little brother. Or not little, they're twins, but she's like, he's still just my brother. And I'm just like, nice.
love it. So after I got the helmet, I was lost because I couldn't find the tower. And so I went and I talked to Harry back in Coburg, and he has a son now named Kendrick, who uses Harry's child sprite, and Harry even is like, I have no idea who he takes after. I definitely wasn't such a troublemaker when I was his age.
And
how
he literally
quickly we forget.
He literally pulls the same shit. He goes off to play with your kids, and your kids come back and are like, Dad, Harry told us to go and get something out of a chest, but then he disappeared. Or not Harry, Kendrick. And then you just walk over to the bed and you click on it and the stairs appear and you're like, ugh. And then your kids are like,
shit
wow,
again.
Dad, how did you know there was a staircase there? You're like, fucking kid.
Yeah.
He's got royalty inside his DNA, that's for sure.
Yeah. So the next thing I did was I did the Maxi Metal side quest to open up the Knickknackery, but I did not put the Maxi Metal inside the Knickknackery because it is the ultimate shield for Sancho.
Oh, I forgot to do that.
Yeah, so you go.
Yeah, I gotta go do that.
You go to the mini metal place, and there's like a cute little he said, she said, like fetch quest thing where you're like, so somebody has a maxi metal, and you're like, oh no, it's that guy, and then they're like, oh no, it wasn't me, it was that guy. Oh no, it wasn't me, it was that guy. And you talk to like every NPC in there, and it's really cute. And then you get the maxi metal and give it to Sancho, and it's like 150 defense. And it's
I wonder if Tuppence can equip that.
Maybe.
That's who I've been using.
Yeah. I kind of want to put Sancho away and not use him. He's useful for like questing utility, like for grinding and stuff, but I don't like him that much in battle. But every time I walk into a town, for some reason, the game erases what party I have and puts just my humans as my party. And so every time if I go to heal somewhere, I have to remember to stop before I go into the thing to put my Slime Knight back in my party. And it's
Sancho's my kabuff guy, so
yeah, no, if you have Sancho and Vince in your, that's Gohan in your party, you get two dudes that use kabuff, so you can get your buff stuff way up real fast.
It's pretty
I
sweet.
love Sancho.
I might go back to use him.
I have Sancho using kabuff when necessary, attacking when necessary, and then on turn 3 not doing that. Actually, nowadays I pretty much every single I have his AI set to focus on healing, and I have him. He has the item Staff of Salvation. Do y'all have that yet?
No.
Yeah.
maybe.
Oh, check
I
your
want
inventory. There's a chance perhaps you got it and did not realize it was great, so you didn't notice, or you missed a chest somewhere. The Staff of Salvation is one of those Dragon Quest items where you can just use an item in battle for a free effect for as much as you want. and I think it's like heal more, basically.
Damn.
It's good as shit. So I put Sancho on focus on healing, so every single turn, even if my dudes don't really need healing, because if you're focusing on healing spells, you don't heal unless someone's getting a little low, right? But for him, it's just like, no, every single turn you heal somebody. So at the end of each battle, I'm basically topped off.
That's really good.
Then again, I guess anybody could do that. I guess Tuppence could be doing that as well. I love Tuppence though. He's a strange child.
Yeah,
He is.
I still haven't gone to recruit him. I keep forgetting.
He's very much a young man. He's eager. He
He's a
has big
teen.
dreams. He's kind of horny.
Yeah, but like not in like a skeevy way. Like sometimes he'll just bring up apropos of nothing, like wanting to get a wife, or like, oh, sure, a lot of pretty girls here. But like it's not like anime where it's not like Kira Toriyama where he's just constantly being a perv.
Yeah.
He's just like a horny teen. But also at one point there's like a woman in trouble, or something bad happens to a woman, like someone has stolen something from her or wronged her, and he's not like doing the whole like white knight thing where he's just like, if I'm gonna save her and then she'll love me, because I'm gonna prove to her that I'm a good guy. I'm not a jerk like all these jerks. No, he's just like, that sucks. Someone needs to do the right thing and help this woman.
What a good boy.
But he also, he's talking about how like, I'm gonna go home. I'm gonna go back home and be a hero. When you talk to Monstro Ferrato and Mr. Rigatoni asks you to do a favor, he's like, we gotta do this because then he'll owe us a favor. He's like, the richest guy in the entire world will owe us. So he's like, you can hear the gears turning in his brain, like he's got some ambition, ambitious life plans. Tuppence is a cutie pie.
Yeah.
I love him.
I should go get him.
Bernard, you don't have to do this, I guess, if you feel embarrassed about it. But when you were doing your Phoenix Wright tapes and sending them to me, who's that one Phoenix Wright character? The one who's like a dumb boy who's got too much energy all the time. He's like scared all the time.
Mike Meekins?
Yes. Okay. So, your Mike Meekins voice is what I hear when I hear Tuppence.
That's good.
You don't have to demonstrate, but you could if you wanted to.
I can't remember the lines, so.
Okay, but yeah, he's just like all the time.
I love it. So
Tuppence is good.
So after what happened next, and what's cool about Dragon Quest is even games like this one that are mostly linear, they have bubbles of non-linearity that all funnel you back into the next linear thing. So like this one right here was just like, well, go try and find a stairway, I guess. And if you're like me and we're lost, like every NPC now gets updated to be like, hey, you idiot, it's over here. So what I did was I found my way into Fairy Lee, which we're not supposed to go to for a little bit. I can actually talk about it this week because we're not stopping before we go to Fairy Lee.
Why not? Yeah, so you may or may not accidentally do Fairy Lee at this point. So what happens?
So when you get to the forest, it's like a lost woods, but you stumble around through it enough where you come to a clearing with a fire going, and it's like, wow, that lady's so pretty. And you're like, what? And he's like, what, you mean you can't see her? And then me, an intellectual, remembers the beginning of the game. And I'm like, these are fairies he is seeing. So yeah, Gohan is like, we want to get to Fairy Lee in the realm of fairies. And so then Gohan's like, okay, we just have to follow her. And I'm like, what? And he's like, okay, never mind, follow me. And so you make your way through and you find a new stairway to Fairy Lee, and you go in and you get to Treacle, and she's just like, oh my god, it's been so many years, you're so grown up, I never thought you'd come back, but I do still owe you something from last time, so if you ever need me, call on me. And then you're like, can you take me to Zenithia? And she's like, why don't you just try and find the stairway to Zenithia or the castle itself? And you're like, oh, okay. Need to get to the castle. Need to find the stairway. They're two separate things now. Thank you for helping me with that, Treacle. And so then you go and try and find a tower dungeon.
Now there's two things I don't know where they are.
Thanks.
Although, funny thing, they're like right next to each other.
No, the stairway's in the middle of the is the middle of the map, and Zenithia is up north of Lofty Peak.
Oh, no, not Zenithia. I'm talking about the fairy castle.
Oh, yeah.
It's like slightly north of the Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah. But, yeah, so I do finally find the Stairway to Heaven, and I climb this dungeon, and I really like this dungeon, because this dungeon has really strong mobs that are kind of easy to take down, so they give you a lot of experience, but also you are going through doors a lot, and your RNG gets reset every single door, so you pretty much only fight like one or two during the thing, so you can stop.
I actually went and experimented, Sam. I'm pretty sure you're right the first time. I'm pretty sure like half the floors just don't have battles.
Well, either way,
which is, I think, even cooler. It's really cool. It's just like, yeah, like sometimes it's just like, yeah, this area is about like setting the mood, kind of, and just being mysterious, and there's not battles for a lot of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So yeah, there's not a whole lot of battles in it, but the ones you do get, you feel really rewarded when you take them down, because they're not hard, but they like leveled, like at this point, I think I leveled up Gohan and Videl all the way to like 22 type thing from like 0 basically, and it was awesome. But
nice.
You get to the top, and then you're me, and you don't read this carefully. But the guy on top is like, "Oh, by the goddess, I never thought anybody would climb a stairway. This used to lead all the way to Zenithia, but now it lies in ruin, and Zenithia is at the bottom of the lake. So take this magma staff with you. You'll have need of it." And I, not an intellectual, thinks that imagines that it says Bash acquired the magma staff, but it doesn't. The magma staff is very obviously right next to him, an interactable object, and I just turned my ass around and walked all the way out of the dungeon. So I did this dungeon twice. So and I of course realized it didn't work when I got all the way over to Zenithia and was like, all right, magma staff. Wait, where is it in my inventory? And had to go all the way back. I actually went through my screenshots I was taking for notes and saw its big ass just right there next to him. Like, God dang it. So you take...
in case y'all, just to make sure y'all don't forget, once again, magma staff can use in combat. It's good.
Yeah. Videl has it, and she uses it every turn, and it does like 40 damage to everybody, and that's great.
It's good shit.
But so you take the magma staff, and when you do, Old Man is a spooky ghosty the whole time, and he disappears. And so then you go back to Zenithia, and you raise the magma staff, and there's a super awesome low poly CG volcano eruption, which is awesome. It's one of my favorite bits in the whole game. It's like extremely extra. Like it bubbles and gurgles, and then it shoots fire into the sky, and then it explodes, and then the wall falls away.
And you, who are right next to it, are apparently fine.
Yeah.
and then the lava falls on you, and you all die.
Yeah. You're magically protected from that.
Yeah.
So. I guess you did literally wield the magical item that made it happen, so sure.
So then we get a minecart dungeon, and it's a real good minecart dungeon. Like, most minecart dungeons are like, we're going to make this dungeon bigger than we need to, and there will be bridges that you have to ride across on a minecart, and that's it. But this one had a lot of like flipping switches to see which direction it needs to go, and like there's one where you have to unsolve a infinite loop, because there's an NPC stuck in an infinite loop, and you have to break it, which is really cool. And
Poor guy.
And
been there for 20 years, he says.
Yeah. We meet this man stuck in a infinite looping minecart, and he introduces himself as Dr. Aegon, but his real name is Ned Flanders.
I love him.
And
he's a lot.
He's a whole lot. I love him so much. Everything is like humdiddly and things like that, and it's so good. But he says that he's actually a Zenithian, you know? Oh, yes, indeedy. And
yes, and diddly deedy.
Yes. And so he's like, I've been trapped in this minecart for 20 years. Thank you for getting me out. And I'm like, I could understand being freaked out and stuck in a moving minecart for like a couple of minutes. But like, if you realize there's no way I'm getting out and no one's going to come and stop me, I would take the broken arm or whatever it would take to jump out of the minecart to just move on. Like, yeah, it's fast.
Minecart was going real fast.
It was. It reminded me of.
But was it Don't Eat for 20 years real fast?
It reminded me of the Bob's Burgers episode where they have this big running with the turkeys thing at Thanksgiving, and it goes completely haywire, and the kids end up stuck on a like a spinning ride,
like the teacups type thing.
The teacup ride, yeah, and because the ride operator ran off, and so they've been spinning there, and they try to get off and they try to stop it, but they just end up back in the same cars. And then the grown-ups come to try and help them, and as soon as they get on, they're like, "Oh God, I'm sick." And the kids are like, "We've been on here for an hour. Gene had a snack."
That's such a good episode. But yeah, so
I love Bob's Burgers.
So you help Ned Flanders off of the turkey ride, and he's like, "Oh, I was trapped there for 20 years. You're probably headed to Zenithia, so I'll come with you." And so you do, because there's safety in num diddly umbers.
Yes.
And so then you go and do this last part of the minecart dungeon, which I love a lot because it's not solvable with like your current tool set. So if you break it in the right way, you go to a dead end, but there's a locomotive on that dead end, and it'll push you across the gap and do it. And it's really cool, where you weren't supposed to try and like get the minecart to the other side. You were supposed to like do it wrong so that you could do it right. And I thought that was really cool.
I consider myself as someone who's not very good at Zelda-esque puzzles, but I managed to get through that dungeon really easily, and like I figured out the train thing immediately.
Yeah,
I was like, well, I guess I'll go toward this train.
Yeah, I mean, it's not inconspicuous. It's just cool that it's like, oh, I can't actually get across this gap. I have to hit this train, and then the train will get me across the gap. But as the train pushes you, you go behind a waterfall, and it's gorgeous. And then you go down a whirlpool-y tube roller coaster ride, and if you don't get vertigo, it's gorgeous.
Yeah, man, this game just continues to... You know what? I wish they should have like remade this game on just like the same damn ass game, but just like slightly, you know, like a remastered version on like 3DS, because so many of these 3D environments would look so cool with the actual stereoscopic 3D.
Yeah, that would be super cool.
Yeah, as we talked about with Xenogears, I just love games that have this graphical style, and it's so cute, and they do so much cool stuff with it.
Yeah, it's so good. So you get to the bottom of the roller coaster, and you are in Zenithia. So when you get to Zenithia, everything is flooded, and it's flooded in an annoying way where you can explore everything, but right when you get to like the meaty bits of exploring, there's a big puddle of water that you can't cross. And so it funnels you up to the throne room, and when you get there, Dr. Aegon is like, yeah, there's not a Zenithian in the whole place, but there's a hidden passageway behind the throne, because there always is in Dragon Quest. So let's go and check that out.
You mean a hidden passage? You mean a hiddly-in piddly passage?
So
that sounded dirty.
That sounded real dirty.
That's true.
And so you go down the staircase, and someone from the GDQ couch yells, "Orb!" And you see
oh, it's the best
No, Sam. It's a new joke now. Now it's Marianne Williamson yelling "Orb."
Okay. I'm down with that one. I'm more okay with that than GDQ. But so
Treacle is... The Fairy Queen is basically Marianne Williamson. Now I'm realizing. Okay, that's my new bit.
Okay, yeah. There's
good job, everybody.
Speaking of which, when we go there, I have some Marianne Williamson poetry that Treacle wrote for us to read. But yeah, so we see this silver orb on one side, and we see a pedestal for a gold orb on the other side, but it's empty. And then there's also a hole to hell right next to it. So I wonder what happened.
Yeah, they're like, someone took the orb, and there's this big hole in the floor.
I wonder what could happen. What happened? And so Dr. Aegon is like, I suppose that this hole opened up when that evil Knievel one awoke long ago. Such a weird reference that like requires you to know who Evil Knievel is, also to realize that he's just saying diddly umptious again.
That's a very, very hyper specific reference, especially for a game that was localized in like 2008.
Right? It's so good. But he's like, since the gold orb is missing, that must be why Zenithia crashed out of the sky. So the orb was made by the fairies, so you should go and get it. But before you do so, he has a flashback and sees the orb fall from the castle and land in Upton Towers. So then you get a flashback to remember that you got the gold orb from Upton Towers. And then you also remember you stealing the orb from yourself. So you're like, oh, I guess I got to go close the loop. So it goes through the whole thing of Lodgia breaking it and your dad dying again, and it's real sad. But we've all played the game; we know what happens.
You have to revisit all those traumatizing things.
Yeah.
And you are literally. It turns out the flashbacks aren't just for the sake of the player. Like it really is you and all your kids are seeing these things happen.
Yeah,
and it's just like, okay, yeah, let's just relive all this shit.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah, it's wild. So,
and if you talk to Vince, he's even like. Not literally, but he's like, man, that was fucked up.
That was some fucked up shit you did.
That was some fucked up shit, Dad.
So
it'd be hilarious if just one character cursed like a sailor.
And that's it.
There's that famous slime in the original translation of Dragon Quest VII. It says that he's always getting his ass kicked, and what do you mean you don't know where his ass is? There's that one.
I was not aware of that.
I wasn't aware either.
I'll find the
That's great.
Awesome.
I'll find the screenshot and I'll post it in the chat.
I'll just Google slime ass and see what comes up.
You're a braver man than I.
Make sure to do it. Make sure to be at work when you do that.
I will.
Yeah, Dr. Aegon is like, the fairies made the orbs for us back in the day. Maybe the fairies can make the orb as well. So take some of this dust that's here from the orb and see if they can do it. So now, if you're me, you zoom and go back to the Fairy Lee because you already did that part. So, so you get there and Treacle is like, oh, we're still in your debt, so I'd love to make the orb for you, but I don't have enough of the dust. I only can make this gold bauble. It looks like the gold orb, but it's powerless. So actually, that's not. She doesn't give you that. I was getting ahead of myself. The queen tells you to do that. You have to go and find the queen before you do that. Treacle just gives you the horn to call the queen. Remind me to say my poetry for memorable moments. It's real good. But so
you got to go on another world map quest. You have to find a lake surrounded by a forest, surrounded by a mountain, which is it's like just the right amount of specific. There's like really more like 2 or 3 places that can apply to in the world map, but only one of them is the correct one.
And one of them that it looks like it would apply to is up on a plateau and big and like focus. It's over by Zoomingale. So like there's a big plateau with mountains on it and a forest and water on it, and I used that freaking horn on every square up there. I was sure I was onto it because it looks so like it's supposed to. But then you get to the other one.
It's a beautiful and complicated and very particular area of the world map that literally just exists for you to walk through on your way to the next town. It serves no purpose. They just put a ton of work into this one little spot. Yeah, there's like this little staircase and everything, and you figure it's got to be important, right?
No. But when you get to the one that is important, it actually takes you like you're going indoors. Like it's a zone change. You're like, okay, this one's obviously the one where it's supposed to do it.
This is the one.
So, yeah, you go and do it. I stopped by to talk to Bianca, and it wasn't that interesting. She just was like, oh, wow, you've had a tough time. You're so big and strong, but I'm sure that you can find your mom like your dad always planned. which is nice, but
It still hurt my heart, even though she didn't say anything in particular.
right. But yeah, so you make your way to the fairy palace, and Queen Caramel is like, yeah, I don't have enough dust to make a gold orb, but I can make a bauble, but it's okay. I know that you can get this done. Go and talk to the fairies upstairs behind me. They'll tell you what to do. And so you go to do so, and then there's a big painting, and she's like, oh, this painting shows you what you want to see, so go and stand in front of it and tell me what you see. And when you stand in front of it, you get taken into a painting world all by yourself, and if you're like me, you decide that you want to hurt your heart, and you go and cry, and you go and talk to Pancras, because you're back in Wheelbrook, back to 20 years ago. And so you go talk to Pancras, and he's like, do I know you? Is there something you want to discuss? What? All of these you can say yes or no. And he's like, what did you say? You're my son? Ha ha ha. I only have one son, and that's my boy Bash. What? I shouldn't go to Coburg, you say? Well, you've certainly done your homework to know I've been summoning there at any rate. Oh, I see. You're some kind of prophet, are you? Sorry, I don't believe in that sort of thing. But your eyes really remind me of my wife's eyes, you know? I suppose it wouldn't hurt for me to at last bear your advice in mind. Well, if that's all, I'm rather busy at the moment, so if you'd excuse me, and then it ends. So remember way back in episode goddamn 1 when we were like, why did Pancras turn away from Coburg after you had your sweet father-son moment, and then decide, no, it's his duty and he has to go? This was him remembering that you said to not go to Coburg. It was dangerous. And so this was him kind of putting it all together, but knowing he needed to go to Coburg anyways.
Yeah.
It's so good.
This game's got some good writing.
It does. Like,
that's crazy. Yeah, because we were all so perplexed by that scene. We're like, why did he do that?
Yeah. And this was him knowing that Coburg was a bad idea. So, it hurts.
God, that shit rules.
It hurts so good. So, yeah. So, you go and you talk to little you, and he's what, you want to look at my gold orb? And one thing I think is cool is this canonically shows that you're not a silent protagonist that only can say yes or no. You're actually having conversations with these people. It's just not important because every time you've seen you from the other side now twice, you're seeing you're hearing full sentences, and so now we get both sides of this conversation from the flashback to now.
Yeah, I adore this shit.
Yeah.
I love it. So yeah, you heard what old you said at the beginning of the game, and then you hear what young you says now, and you have to fill in and remember what you said back in the day, which is basically old you gives young you a pep talk where you're like, no matter how hard things get, you know, keep your chin up, you'll make it, you know. Give him a little pep talk. And at the time, the kid you is just like, okay. It's the best shit. Also, I forgot, this is another thing that Mother 3 just apes wholesale. Mother 3 is basically just like, what if every good thing that Dragon Quest V did, we turned up to 11?
It's good. We need to play Mother 3 real bad.
Mother 3 switches different characters in different chapters, and whoever the main character is of that chapter is a silent protagonist.
Nice.
But all the characters who are usually the main character but are not currently the main character are not silent protagonists if it's not their chapter, so they get dialogue.
That's really cool. I love that shit.
It's great.
So you ask young you for his orb, and then you switch it with the gold bauble. You can click no right here. I didn't do the but thou must if there was one, because this game has sometimes on important plot things not let you do a but thou must. And
I would bet if you hit no, you just get to keep walking around the town until you go back and do it.
Probably. And so you switch the orb, and then young you is like, don't worry, I won't give up, no matter how hard it gets, just like you say. Thank you, Mr. G. Willikers. And so then you try to exit the town. If you're like me, you're lost, and you're like, okay, why can I still control things? I did my mission. Please take me back to the present. But you have to.
I'm stuck forever.
You have to go and try and leave the town, and then you'll leave the painting. And so then Queen Caramel is like, okay, the time has come. Go return the orb to its rightful place. So you zoom to Zenithia. Zoom is the best. thing in the world. It is way better than an airship. Everyone who thinks otherwise is wrong. It's so good. But
Speaking of airship,
yeah, we're about to get one. So you go to Zenithia and you put the orb back on the pedestal, and there's a really cool zoom out where like everything gets super tiny, and you see the orbs casting their magics, and it's really cool. And then Zenithia flies about 50 feet off the ground, and Dr. Aegon is like, well, it wasn't really as on high as I was expecting from, heaven, but I guess I'll deal with it. And so then he's like, hey, I know I don't know you, but why don't you take control for a while, and then you get to fly this castle as your airship, and it's real cool.
Yep. We're going through a lot of vehicles this week.
Yeah.
I like how each vehicle literally lets you go to one place that you couldn't go to before you got the vehicle.
Yeah.
Or two.
It's some real...
Yeah, we didn't even mention that the flying carpet got us to wherever it got us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I skimmed over it.
So flying carpet is actually a cool vehicle. It allows you to fly over oceans and rivers freely, so you can fly all over the ocean. And if the ocean has little rocks in it that would normally stop your boat, you go over them, but you can't go over anything on the ground. Mm-hmm. So you can go over grasslands and desert, but you can't go over forests, mountains, or even normal-sized low hills. Mm-hmm. So it's an interesting little navigation challenge to see where you can and can't go. On the other hand, the item doesn't stay somewhere when you leave, because it's literally a carpet. You wrap it up and put it in your bag. Mm-hmm. So you can land, walk across a forest, and then continue flying, right? But mostly what you do is you follow the rivers, mm-hmm. because of course rivers go out to the sea, so you follow the rivers inland, and that's usually how you find places. But yeah, literally all it let us go to was Fairy Forest and the tower. And then now we've got this new amazing I just spoiled something. Airship, and
you didn't spoil it. We didn't spoil it too much. We have one dungeon to do, and then we get the airship.
And this airship is like an entire Balam Garden thing, which I think is a really funny version of an airship. Mm-hmm. And all it does is let us go to the next dungeon. That's it.
Yeah.
We can't go anywhere else with it.
It's good.
Probably because it's too big to land anywhere.
Yeah, I was really annoyed at how much you couldn't land places. Also, I've thought this since Dragon Quest III, and I think this again. The airship controls in these Dragon Quest games are horse shit, and I do not like them. Where it just
you can't stop moving.
You can't stop moving. You just pick a direction, and it'll keep going until you land.
I like it. And it makes sense. Most flying things can't fly in place. They can't hover.
But
I didn't like that I wasn't able to set it going in a diagonal direction.
Yeah.
I had to hold a diagonal direction in order for it to go that way. If I released, it would just go left or down.
Yeah. It stinks, but it's okay because it's cool. And I think it was I had that problem more, I think, with the bird in Dragon Quest III, because birds can hover. Birds hover a lot of the time. They should just be able to flappy their wings and keep from moving. And that one is your final airship, so you're trying to pinpoint where to land to get to the final boss with this big ass bird that won't stop moving, and it sucks. But
that's true. That is true.
It's not as bad here with Zenithia because you got a big ass desert to land in, and that's the only place you have to go.
There's like a landing pad, basically. Yeah. It's like, hey, put it here.
Yeah. So we explore Zenithia, and everybody there is like, "Who the fuck is Dr. Aegon? We don't know anybody named by that." And then there's also a guy that's like, "Oh, hey, thanks for saving us. I'm known as the reward guy because I guess that's a name that you name people in Zenithia. Here, take this grappling hook." So somewhere, Mabel Pines yells, "Grappling hook!" So
I don't get it.
It's from Gravity Falls. That was for Eli. Not all jokes are for you, Maddie. Okay.
Oh, I know. I was just wanting to let everyone know that I didn't get it.
So
I got it, and it was good.
So then we climb the outside of the tower, which I think is cool. You get there and the door's locked, so you climb up the outside like a dang Indiana Jones or something. And you get to the top.
This area is beautiful, 3D. By the way.
Yeah. it's like they got this real like Mayan temple aesthetic going on, where like it's like a super super deep forest. Like it's clearly supposed to be like a
ziggurat.
Yeah, it's very clearly supposed to be like a Mayan ziggurat or something. It's cool as shit.
Yeah. So you climb to the top, and there's a hole with a hook for your grappling hook. So then you climb all the way down, and on your way down, you pass this big dragon statue that doesn't have any eyes. And if you're like me, you also see a chest in the corner, and you have fat fingers with this joystick sometimes, and you walk right off, and you can't go back up to get the treasure chest.
I will say, I forgot to mention this earlier, but I found it hilarious that the great reward we get from the Zenithian is a grappling hook. I was kind of expecting something magical, but no, it's just a rope with a thing on the end.
They're the first people to ever think of doing that.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah. Okay, I'll see you later, Scar. So
this dungeon is big, it's long, it's really cool. I didn't find it too difficult though. I found it pretty reasonable.
Once you get to the bottom, you can open the door by pulling a lever, and so it makes getting back into it really easy. So like it's not that bad to like once you get there, even if you have like 2 dead party members, as I did, you get out, you go heal, you go resurrect, and then you come back, and everything you can just keep going from where you left off.
So
it took me a couple of trips after I opened the door, but after you open the door, it's like not that big of a deal to just leave and come back. So if I was like getting a little low and was a little worried, I would just leave, heal, come back, no big deal.
Yeah.
One thing that sucks about Zenithia is it has a priest, but it does not have an inn. So
I was wondering if I would just miss the inn, but I was having to like zoom to Monstro Ferrato and
that's what I was
heal
doing.
there, and then zoom back to Zenithia.
I was going to Gotha because
it's free at Gotha.
Gotha's free. Yeah.
But I like Monstro Ferrato.
Okay.
Where would I go?
Well,
I would go to. There's really no reason why, but I would go to that little shrine just to the west of Gotha. That's where I would go. So
yeah. So
it's because it takes the least amount of time after you zoom there. Because it's such a small area, you walk in and the bed's like right there.
Yeah.
So it's the fastest. Gotha, you have to like go. Well, I guess Gotha it's pretty quick. Too.
You don't have to go that far.
So you make your way through the bottom, and I thought that the dungeon was almost over because we really haven't had a long dungeon this game. This is like our real first one. Though I guess the mountain one was really long, but I still was...
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I was expecting this to be over because they were like, oh, there's some people downstairs. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to walk down these stairs and they'll be right there. But no, there's a whole dang dungeon there. So you make your way through that dungeon, and if you're like me, you find Lodja first, but I think you're supposed to find the other guy first. So
yeah, you are.
So you find Slán. And he's like, you will not interfere with the great mastery that is Lodja. I will take you to your death. And you beat him for killing your dad.
He's
fuck
easy
that
as
guy.
Hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not hard.
Yeah.
Kick his ass.
Yeah. So then you go to get to Lodja. There's this little bit that's like, it's a super obvious puzzle, but it's like a puzzle that would be really cool way back on the Super NES, where it comes from, where like your only way forward, you have to go down a staircase, but the way to continue forward is to then turn your ass around and leave the staircase and walk in the opposite direction. And I love that. It's like imagining me as a person getting my mind blown by Dragon Quest V for the Super NES. I'm like, oh my god, you can do that with staircases. Like you can leave in either direction. And so I thought that part was really cool.
Yeah, it's cute.
Yeah, so then you fight Lodja, and they're really hard. I was stuck here for days, and Eli and Bernard did it first try. I did not.
I took your advice and made sure to use Kabuff a lot, and I used Kasap on Lodja before he used his stupid bubble thing, and then on right before my last turn, I noticed, oh hey, my Bender Junior male has Insulatol or Insulatal, which helps mitigate fire damage. That would have been useful earlier in the fight.
Yeah.
But it saved
Insulator's
my ass.
Very, very important. It's one of the most important skills in the entire series. Actually, just to clarify, specifically for Eli, but also as a reminder for everyone else, Dragon Quest games are weird. There's 3 kinds of damage. There's physical damage. There's also like fire and ice, and like your characters don't have specific elemental weaknesses, but some enemies do. You might have noticed if you cast an ice spell on the enemy that's literally made of ice, it does no damage, obviously.
Yes.
For the most part, elemental damage isn't really a thing in this game. It's just a special little extra bonus. So there's 3 main kinds of damage. There's physical, which you can mitigate with Kabuff. There's magic, which encompasses regardless of whether it's fire or ice or lightning, just all those spells are magic damage. And that can be mitigated using magic barrier. Does this game have magic barrier?
It has some sort of bubble spell that prevents.
Lodge
like
is using bounce right now. So
bounce. That's it.
I don't mean bounce. Bounce is different. I mean a spell that just raises your magic.
I don't know.
I
think so. I think so, but I don't know. I don't know for certain.
Anyway, but then the third kind of damage is breath damage. It's very weird that that's its own thing. But yeah, anytime a dragon or a monster, anytime that the text says like they breathe fire or they emitted flames or they emitted a cloud of ice, that's a breath attack. And that is a distinct thing from physical and from magical. And that's what Insulatal is for. And breath attacks always hit everybody, right? They always do. That's all it is. And they always are super fucking nasty, as I'm sure you noticed. I kept getting wrecked early on by those ice enemies that just do an ice breath attack. And if you run into just 3 of those in one mob, and they all do ice breath in the same turn, you're looking at 160, 170, 180 damage to everybody in one turn, right? And that's based on RNG, of course. They probably don't all 3 use it in one turn, but yeah, breath attacks are like, once those show up in a game, that's like a moment in a Dragon Quest game. And then later in the game, you'll see all of a sudden, all my enemies just unlocked the level 2 breath attacks.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, you gotta be quick on that Insulatal. It's a whole thing, and it's weird, but yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Luckily, you got Insulatal and not just Insulate, which is one person. If this was the original game, you would have to do it one party member at a time.
Yeah.
Well, you start off with that version, and then you start off with the one at a time version, and then later you get the all. But in this game, they just like give you the all right away.
Yeah.
I also lost Bender Jr. female during the fight, but I cast Zing once and it worked.
Nice.
So yeah, I was very lucky.
Love that clutch Zing. But I finally beat them, and they were like, you didn't kill me, but I see that you're strong, so we will meet again. And they poof off and let you just take the goodies behind them, which gets you your second eye for the dragon. So you go and you put the dragon.
When you beat Sloan, you got an eye from behind him as well.
Yeah.
And so you got both eyes, and you put them in the dragon statue. And I thought this was going to be it, but no, there's more dungeon.
The hell of a dungeon.
The dragon opens its mouth, and it's like super safe and not even scary dungeon after that. But I was really expecting to like teleport out or anything, but no, I had to do more dungeon. So you go through, and there's a dragon orb and a kick-ass staff. And so you take the staff and you give it to yourself, and you take the orb and you take that back to Dr. Aegon. But when you get up to Dr. Aegon, everyone there is like mad, and all the Zenithians are like around him, accusing him. But like, there's no one in Zenithia named Dr. Aegon. There's no one that's ever been named that. Who are you? And Dr. Aegon's like, hey, can you hand me that dragon orb real quick? And you're like, yeah, sure. Why? And then, oh my God, the person named Dr. Space Agon was actually a dragon.
Yeah.
And also, it's worth mentioning that Dr. Aegon does not have wings like the other Zenithians. His sprite is just the fucking bartender sprite.
Yep.
Although up until that point, we hadn't seen any other Zenithians, had we?
Yeah.
Who had wings?
No, we saw one. The guy at the top of the tower. The old guy with He had wings.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's it.
But yeah, it was
also,
just some slight
as Sam
foreshadowing, which is cool.
As Sam mentioned last week, Dr. Aegon does not have a period after Doctor, just like Dr. Pepper.
Yeah. Just to make sure you see that it's a pun. It tries real hard to get you to foreshadow who this guy is.
Well, it'd be completely indecipherable as a pun if there was a period.
Yeah.
There.
No one would see it at all.
No one would ever notice.
I would have no idea.
So, yeah, it turns out that he is the Zenith Dragon, and he's big enough that he's a 3D model and not a sprite. I always love that shit in sprite-based
He looks really
games.
cool.
Like, when I was playing Pokemon Diamond for the first time, and you go to face, like, every monster, or every Pokemon you've ever fought was a sprite, and you get to Dialga and Palkia, and they're 3D models, and you're just like, oh, this is the shit, man. This is my shit. So
another cool thing about this graphical style is all of a sudden you use a 3D model for something and it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's so cool. So the Zenith Dragon says that they are master and commander of all that comes to pass in the human realm, and they've been living among us humans as one of our own. But while they were doing that, the delicate balance of peace has been disturbed. The gates to Nadiria have been forced asunder, and the Grand Master of the Underworld endeavors to ascend into the something. I didn't get both screenshots. But
I think that happens.
But probably endeavors to ascend into the human world and take over, because that's what evil overlords of the underworld do. But he says, in you lies hope. You alone may be able to check this wretched evil, and I will do everything in my power to assist you. And he gives you, of course, Ned Flanders can't give you a dragon whistle. He gives you a Zenithian tintinabulum, because of course.
Which is a word I had to look up. It is a real thing.
Yep.
It's basically a stick with a bell on it, and it's specifically a ceremonial stick with a bell on it, used in, like, I believe Eastern Orthodox shit.
And it's the root word for tintinabulation, which is a longer word, but it's more likely that you will have heard it in, like, literature and stuff, because it just means celebration. And so if you hear tintinabulation, that's just loud celebration, but it comes from this word.
Neat. Dragon Quest is teaching us things.
Yay, Dragon Quest.
Yeah, the translators really reached into the bowels of history for that terminology.
Yeah, so that's where we save. We go save in the basement of Zenithia, if you're like me. And so now it's time for our memorable moments, and I want to read this poetry because it's great. Did you guys find the fairy poetry?
I don't think I did, actually, which is weird because I clicked on like 50 different bookcases, but I guess I didn't get that one.
Yeah, so there's 6 bookcases and only 2 of them say anything, so it's likely you could have missed it. So
I wasn't going to say anything when one person said it, but a second person said it. Bookshelf. A bookcase is not a thing.
A bookcase is definitely a thing.
Who's ever said bookcase?
At IKEA, you buy, like, Billy brand bookcases. Bookcase is definitely a thing.
Okay.
Google's telling me that bookcase is the same thing as bookshelf.
Yeah.
Yes. I just
That
looked
is
it up
true,
too.
though. Now that you mention it, I don't normally say bookcase. I normally say bookshelf, so I don't know why I was saying a dumb word.
But I
A bookcase or a bookshelf is a piece of furniture with horizontal shelves, often in a cabinet, used to store books or other printed materials. Thanks, Wikipedia.
You could actually. You know what? I'm looping around. I'm changing my opinion on this. I prefer the term bookcase. You know why? Because a bookshelf is ambiguous. Is it referring to the entire object, or is it referring to a specific shelf? A bookcase has multiple shelves in it.
A bookshelf has shelves. A bookshelf doesn't have bookshelves. It's a bookshelf is the whole thing, and an individual one is a shelf.
Okay, that's a good point too.
I am country as hell, so it's a bookcase. I'm sure that's a country thing. It might not be. It might actually be like a Yank thing, but I've always bookcase first, bookshelf second. So
I don't know what I said growing up. I can't remember. What do we say in West Virginia? Oh God, my whole life has been a lie. Anyway,
Well,
go
I
ahead
can't
with
read, so I don't ever say either of those words.
Go ahead with your memorable moments while I have an existential crisis over bookcase versus bookshelf.
All right. So you find some poetry in one of the bookcase shelves, and it says, "Trees are living beings. Full stop. New line. They feel the breeze in their leaves, comma, the ground with their roots, and they touch the sky with their uppermost branches. They feel more strongly than any other beings when change takes place in the world, and it is they, with their mighty trunks, who tell the tales of all that is past."
Damn, it is like that, though.
Yeah, it do be like that. That's definitely some Marianne Williamson stuff.
Right? that was her answer on
No lies detected.
That's her. That's her response to "What's your foreign policy?"
I mean,
her
honestly,
opinion on the
that
Green
was
New Deal.
basically her response to what is your healthcare policy. That's basically exactly what she said.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah. She's like, trees are the strong. They feel changes in the world. Everyone's like, wow, inspiring.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for you.
I love
I'm calling them shelf cases from now on.
Okay.
One of my moments I wanna share, and this might be the only one I share because it's a little long. One thing that y'all, Bernard would know this, but the other, y'all wouldn't. As we've brought up before, Dragon Quest 4, 5, and 6 are part of the quote unquote Zenithia trilogy, where the only thing they have in common is Zenithia. What's super cool about it is the layout and 3D model for Zenithia is identical.
Oh, that's cool. I love that shit.
And it's especially cool in Dragon Quest 4, and also it's a subversion. In Dragon Quest 4, part of the late game quest is you want to get to Zenithia, just like this game. It's like, we really got to get to Zenithia. It's a big deal. We got to get there. Turns out your main character is actually from there. You're like an angel, kind of, descended from Zenithia. So you got to go back up there. And when you get up there, it's beautiful. It's in the sky, and everything's gorgeous. And you explore it, and you've got the library area, and you've got the part where you can kind of see the like multiple floors down in one screen. And you learn whatever it is you're going to do, and you meet the Zenithia dragon. And he doesn't talk like a weirdo. He talks like you'd expect. He talks like, "I'm the great Zenithia dragon. You know, thou hast done well in coming here." Stuff like that. It's all very high fantasy. So in this game, they're bringing back the whole Zenithia thing, and you're like, "Oh, cool, going to Zenithia from the previous game," but they subvert it. So you go, and it's the, again, identical layout to the one you remember from playing Dragon Quest IV when you were a kid, or if you're me, you just played Dragon Quest IV like the previous month because you're obsessed with Dragon Quest in high school. Except it's flooded. So they've taken the same 3D model and then modified it to make a different layout because you can't go to all these places, but still you remember that they were there from last time. So it really hammers home the decay of the place, because what in the previous game was this beautiful, glorious palace is now clearly the same place and is flooded and in ruins. And they didn't pull a Mass Effect or a Xenosaga and just be like, yeah, it looks different now. And then the further subversion is that, yeah, the great Zenithia dragon who you met last time, instead of being this regal, pompous being, is just this weird dumbass.
Yeah.
Who got stuck on a minecart for 20 entire years. And then when you finally do revive it, when you do finally bring Zenithia back, you get to explore the whole place, and again you find out, yes, this is the exact same Zenithia. And the fact that all three games are made on the DS in the exact same engine just makes it even better.
Yeah.
It's the same asset. And yes, it shows up again in 6, and I think there's some subversion there as well, but it's like, once again, the exact same 3D model. I think that shit rules. Another thing that I think rules is that they basically brought back Dragon Quest III's Orb Quest, except Dragon Quest III, it was like, hey, half of the game is you have to go and get 6 orbs. This game's like, yeah, there's 2 orbs, but you only have to get one of them, and it doesn't take that long.
Yeah.
But they're bringing back the trope, but not in a way that you actually have to go and fucking get 6 orbs.
Yeah.
Which is cute, which is really cute. So that's basically what I'm good.
Speaking
That's basically all I got.
Speaking of things that Mother rips off of Dragon Quest, so I was watching a retrospective on the Mother games, and they were like, yeah, Mother 1 is like sometimes incomprehensible because you just like the game just stops and then you have to find like 8 melodies and you can do them in any order and it doesn't make any sense. I'm like, oh, that's just the Dragon Quest 3 Orb Quest. He was just ripping off Dragon Quest 3. I got it. No big deal.
Yeah, it's literally just Dragon Quest 3 except in set in like 50s Americana.
Yeah.
Especially because unlike Earthbound, Mother 1 is a lot more non-linear. Yeah.
But does anybody have any other memorable moments? I have a couple more, but I want to not steal them from Eli this time.
Yes, I have a couple that I just encountered while I was doing gambling.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
One is I was safe scumming the casino because I'm a bad person, and I forgot what exactly happens when you tell the priest that you don't want to continue your journey. So I thought it would take me back to the title screen. I thought that would be faster than just resetting. So I went to but what actually happens is it says, thank you for playing, turn the power off. And I was like, oh. But anyway, so I go to the priest and he's like, do you want to save? And I say no. And he says, do you want to continue your journey? And I say no. And he says, by the goddess, you intend to rest from your adventures without recording what you have done in an adventure log? And he goes on a bit longer and he's just so horrified by the idea. It's really cute. And then I think
he's Mr. Rossetti all over the place.
Yeah.
Yes. And then I think we might have mentioned this, I don't know, but when I was playing TNT, I got to an inn and an item shop, and there are these weird, like, fully illustrated close-ups.
Graphics. Yeah.
Well, it's these close-ups of the people. Yeah. And there's nothing else in the game like that. It's so weird.
Yep. It's like, I guess it's like a Phantasy Star thing. Yeah, it's so bizarre. It's so strange.
Yeah. What it is it's a battle background because they could put you in a battle but bring up the shop interface instead of you just not talking to anybody on the TNT space. Totally what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it's like that. Is to make it more realistic, as if there being an actual innkeeper on that tile makes any sense, anyways.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eli.
Anyway, that's all I had.
Eli, do you have any?
No. I mean, I enjoyed this a lot. I just didn't record memorable moments like I should have. So my bad.
I actually have two more actually. Okay. One very, very obscure one that I'm surprised I picked up on. I don't know if this is every inn in the game. Maybe it's like a difficulty scaling thing, but I don't think so. I think this is a unique thing, and maybe I should go explore. If you're in Mastro Ferrado, and you talk to the inn person, he's like, he doesn't just give the typical like welcome to the inn. He gives you like this whole spiel where he's like, welcome to the inn. We got soft beds, we got great amenities, we got a good atmosphere, blah, 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 and all for only $30 a night. I just realized it is bucks instead of gold coins. That's funny.
Yeah, it's great.
Anyway, he goes, all for only $30 a night. I'm pretty much giving it to you for free, huh? What do you say? You want to stay, right? And I'm like, I didn't need the hard sell, dude. I just need to restore my health. Yes, I'll stay. Anyway, the next time you go there, because I went there a few times, he gives you the exact same spiel, but it's 35. Aww. And then you do it again, and it's 40.
That's cute.
So, like, this inn raises its prices every time I go.
That's cute.
I've noticed a couple of places where there's some inflation after you've gone.
Okay. I thought maybe it was just like a cute little thing for this town, but I guess it's just a weird game thing. Probably because in the first half of the game, you go through all the towns linearly, so the prices go up as you go through the game, because that's how JRPGs work, even though it makes no sense. But now, this game's got this big open world, so the inns are like way too cheap. So maybe that's like a balancing thing where it's like, oh, the inns probably should cost more.
So, speaking of inflation, there is now shopkeepers in Wheelbrook, the old busted-ass Wheelbrook, that sell the non-unique end-game items. So the Dragon's Bane, the Zombie's Bane, those sort of DQ staples, they're for sale there, which was real helpful because Lodja, I think, counts as undead because Zombie's Bane was doing heck of damage.
Yeah, it was doing a lot.
Yeah. So definitely go and get those. My last memorable moment is in Lofty Peak. There's this old guy down in the basement that he's like, oh, hey, I actually am from Gotha. It's good to see you, King Bash. I left Gotha a long time ago to follow King Pancraz, but alas, the hand of evil had already ... No, I still cannot believe it. I refuse to believe that King Pancraz is gone. And he's like, something. There's more to it. I just didn't save it all. Why, Scarlett? Why didn't I save it all? Because I'm not good at this game. And let me see if I have it in my extended collection of things. He goes, yeah, I cannot depart from this hope that if I wait here long enough, he will come back with Queen Madalena by his side. And I just thought that was really cool. And since we're going to go save Mata, I wonder if there will be a thing. Probably not, because he's just some random NPC in a basement somewhere. But it would be cool to have like her with us, and then be like, "Oh, my life is complete. I can return to Gotha because you've saved Mata, and you are definitely mini Pancraz at this point."
Spoiler alert, that's not going to happen.
I figured not, because he was just a random NPC, but it's still one of those cool ass things.
Well, no, it's not going to happen because we're going to rescue Mata right before the final boss.
Yeah, and
actually, victory lap.
Victory lap.
Maybe.
I'll go. Yeah, I'll make a note to go on the victory lap.
Let's make sure to try it in the victory lap. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, that does it for me. Does anybody have anything else to say about this week's play?
This game is good.
Yes.
Yeah. The whole traveling back in time thing, even though it's a pretty minor element, I find it very affecting. It's cool how you thought everything was lost because you thought the thing you needed had literally been destroyed by the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then you find a way to Avengers Endgame it, basically.
Yeah.
And then you also meet your past self and have this like moment of reflection.
And then that
really
whole like subtle thing with Pancraz that just clicked.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's so good, man.
Yeah, it's just a really nice little. The game's full of great moments, but that's one that they set that up way early in the game, and you figure you know what's going on. You figure there's some kind of time travel going on because the character clearly looks like you from the future because you never changed your outfit your entire life. Something I just realized while I was playing, when you go back and talk to Bianca, like you mentioned, it's very cute and she just wishes you well, and I feel sad. Although your kids are like, Dad, are you okay? You're acting a little, you seem like you're having some emotions after you talk to Bianca. But anyway, I just realized Bianca's 10 years older than you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because you were stuck at, like, all of your friends are 10 years older than you were last time you saw them.
She's like super, she's like almost, she's like our age. She's like 28 now, so she's like hot.
I had a question for you guys because I meant to ask this before. Do your kids have different hair colors?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering about that because ours are blonde.
That's the only change based on the wife choice.
Yeah, I assumed that Nara's kids are blue-haired and then Deborah's are black-haired.
Wow. So I call him Gohan being cute, but Gohan is Super Saiyan in Eli's game and is regular Gohan in Natty's game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's like, they're not going to give your two kids 3 entire different sets of party chat because that would be absurd even for this game, which has a lot of writing. But they do give them different hair color, which is really cute. And that's why one reason Bianca's canon, because all of the art has them with sandy blonde hair. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely all of the art.
As if the wedding didn't make us know that she was canon enough to make you feel real bad for picking Nara.
Yeah.
But this game is good. If you somehow are joining us now and haven't played it, you should play it. It's real good. I am excited to beat it. It will be my 4th completed Dragon Quest game.
It'll be my first.
Which will be exciting. I'm excited to hear Eli's post-mortem on the whole game when it's over, because everyone's first Dragon Quest is a real cool experience. But if you like what you hear, considered, actually, I need to rewrite this because I don't have to say this shit anymore. If you like what you hear, you can look us up at rpgbook.club. It's our new fancy schmancy website. It has links for our Ko-Fi, has links for our Spreadshirt, has links for our Twitter and our YouTube and Sailor Eli's YouTube, and how to subscribe to us on iTunes and Libsyn and Overcast. It's
And
dope.
our really cute graphic design that Sam did a good job with.
Yeah, it's about to get overhauled to be even cooler after Classic Game Fests, so keep a lookout for that. But being a website, it now is the home for the JRPG canon. It will no longer be a video because videos are hard to make when you have a kid. And everyone kept saying, no, it's fine, take your time. But I still, like, to this day, only had video, like, captured for Final Fantasy. I did not have any of the recording or editing done. It was taking a hella long time. So I'm just making them blog posts. So if you want to read those blog posts, you can head on over there, click on JRPG Canon at the top.
Sam, if others of us want to make blog posts on there, may we do it?
Yeah, absolutely. You can.
Yay!
You can send it over to me however you want, and we can. put it
BRB
up.
writing my special Alfies and Undyne fanfiction.
Do it.
BRB writing the spiciest takes you've ever seen. Probably gonna get our website
Yeah. So.
followed by the FBI.
Yeah, probably. But yes, you can check out those. I just posted. It's funny. The last time I was like, if you donate, you can read the Final Fantasy one. But now it's up in the time it took us to actually record this episode. So if you want to check out my thoughts on the first bit of Final Fantasy 1, that has been up since yesterday. So it's real cool. Everyone should go and check it out. My next game I'm doing is Lufia 2. I've already played through the loop once. I'm going to play through it again and get screenshots and also as a refresher and take better notes. So that one should be up in the next week or two for backers, and then a week after that for everybody else. So that'll be cool. Go and check that out. But as always, if you could go and rate us on iTunes or Stitcher or Spotify or wherever you can tell people that they like us. It helps the algorithm point us to people who like us, and that's always cool. We like talking to new people, and I'm tired of talking to Matt and Essie, so I want new people.
He's kidding. We love you guys.
Yes,
we love you both very much.
And also, speaking of Classic Game Fest, I did this shout out last week, but we didn't record that episode. Shout outs to Francesco from the Discord. He's flying out to Classic Game Fest to come and see us.
What a bro.
What a bro. We're definitely going to talk to him for most of the time on the episode. So, yeah.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, join us next week.
We should tell people where we're playing
Yeah.
next week. We're playing until we get to the Underworld of Nadiria. The Underworld of Nadiria has a town in it. It's not just like a dungeon. So when you get to Nadiria, it's a separate world map. You'll know when you get there.
Yeah.
Save at the first chance you get to save in Nadiria. So don't peace out. Keep going until you get to whatever, a priest or a town or something.
Yeah.
Cool.
And one thing that's cool about Dragon Quest is the final dungeon really starts when you land your airship or enter the underworld or whatever the last chunk of the world map is, because the world map typically has a lot smaller and much harder mob areas. So it's normally you have this whole continent will be the same mob table, but in the final bit it's a lot smaller because you're supposed to make smaller trips to whittle your way through it, and the world map is a whole big old thing for the last part of Dragon Quest. So
Oh yeah, feel free to do lots of grinding. Well, if you don't to get to the safe one if you want to, since we're all that's left is the final dungeon.
yeah, so definitely it'll be great. I'm excited to finish this one out. But as always, I am Sam Allman.
I'm Elias Sailor Eli Warren.
I'm Maddie Webber.
And as sometimes, I'm David Bernard Hauk.
Toodaloo, everyone. I'm going to have an
Love
ice
you
cream
all.
party with my 2-year-old.
Yay!
Goodbye.
Bye. Okay, you can play Kirby game in just a second, okay? I'll get it set up for you.
I want to play Kirby game.
Me too.